Welcome to my podcast, A Widow's Heart. I'm your host, Pam Lundell. I'm a longtime radio girl, currently on the KTIS morning show. God walked me through the death of my husband, John, years ago, and during that time, guided me to help launch the nonprofit Widow Might. That's Widow, M-I-G-H-T. He lifted me up and has never left me, and that's why I have a heart for widows to this day. My prayer is that you can take away a little bit of hope to make your journey a little bit lighter. Welcome to a brand new edition of A Widow's Heart, and I am so excited for you to meet my guest on this episode. Each story of each widow that I talk to is so unique, and this one is definitely that. It's amazing. It's Kimberly Hubenette, a dentist, cosmetic dentist, accomplished dentist, and a survivor. Grew up hunting, shooting, fishing, off-roading, 4x4ing with her parents and siblings, and her father's best friends were in search and rescue, and her dad, always a survivalist, and that's a key part of this chat that we're going to have. He used to train Kim how to survive an attack, a home invasion, and kept survival gear in every car. And on top of that, Kimberly, you lost your beloved husband, Mark. Now, how many years ago is this?
It was in 2019.
Yeah, not even
going on
6
6 years. Mm-hmm.
Just 6 years ago. And you have written a book called Grid, Once in a Lifetime, You Get to Start Over. That's the name of the book. I'm using air quotes, it's a fictional book, but it's something that I have never read before. So first, Kimberly, welcome. And would you tell us a little bit about maybe your love story with Mark and how little time you really had together, but such a special relationship?
Yes. So we met in 2002, and he had already had his double lung transplant.
That's something. Cystic fibrosis, correct?
Yes, he had cystic fibrosis. And to tell you the truth, they told us that he was cured from cystic fibrosis since he had a lung transplant. Okay. Oh. So interestingly enough, he survived 21 years with a double lung transplant. And then upon his death, the certificate says cystic fibrosis. So how in the middle of being cured from cystic fibrosis because of the double lung transplant, that now at the end and the death certificate says he died from cystic fibrosis? Oh. I'm not sure about that, but, it's what the medical field broke down.
You are a doctor. I mean, you're a doctor of dentistry, and you've got to have questions about that for sure.
Yes. Yeah. The whole time that he was alive, and he changed my life as far as the perspectives of balance of life. I was always at my office. Of course, before I met him, he was living in Northern California, and I was living in San Diego, and I had a practice down there. We met in a little sushi restaurant in Las Vegas at I think it was the Hard Rock Hotel.
Yeah.
Nobu Sushi.
Oh, that's fabulous. Yeah. I love it. And San Diego is near and dear to my heart. I've got good friends and we visit all the time. And so you met Mark there, and he had this outdoors mentality, right? And he taught you a lot of things. As you mentioned, you're a really hard worker and in your office all the time.
And so what resonated was the fact that my family, my dad, had also done search and rescue and was in a 4x4 club and all sorts of things. And so we had a lot to talk about. He had a Bronco, I had a Jeep. He had motorcycles, I had 3-wheelers, and we just meshed. So he couldn't believe I was a dentist, and I couldn't believe he had a double lung transplant.
And at the same time, but he was actually thriving after the transplant, as you mentioned.
Yes, definitely. All he had was a little tackle box full of medication. And, the medication, grant you, it was probably around $70,000 a month to keep him alive with all these medications. But he looked normal. Walking down the street, you could not tell that this person had anything wrong with him, and he didn't want anybody to know. He wanted to look normal and feel normal and do normal things.
So in 6 years ago, as you mentioned, when he passed away, was that sudden? Was that a long hospital stay?
So during, where I live now in Sonoma County, 2017, there was a lot of fire all around my house. We were in the center of 5 different wildfires, and we evacuated, I would say, in that year, maybe 20 times, okay? And then in 2019, when it happened again, we had to evacuate again. And at that point, that's when Mark's lungs were really deteriorating. 2017, he had to be on pure oxygen tubing throughout the house. And then in 2019, when it happened again, even worse, that he really couldn't go to his favorite places. He was still on search and rescue for that whole time. Yeah. And he had been a search and rescue with the Sonoma County Sheriff Department for 8 years as a volunteer. He helped them create a space where they could, look for people using the ATVs, and he helped buy help decide which ones to buy and what type of thing to do. He was on the equipment. And so when the 2017 fires hit, he wanted to go help. He wanted to stay around the area. His parents told him, no, we should go to Bodega Bay instead. But he was adamant he wanted to help. So some of his team members knew about his lung transplant. Some of them didn't. And the ones that did, they suggested, and they put him in the trailer so he was a dispatch person instead of going out.
Oh my gosh. Well, and he sounds like he was just a wonderful man and really influenced you after he passed away to write this book. But I want to ask you, as this is A Widow's Heart, what was it like for you? You were holding his hand, and if you care to share, I mean, all of a sudden, one moment you're a wife, and then the next you're not.
Well, that week was tough. I remember that they said, there's not going to be much time. He had stopped really eating, drinking some, but really he knew that he couldn't move past this. There was times where he really wanted to think that he could get his double lung transplant, another one, but, his body was too deteriorated. So that week we had hospice, we had a care person, and I remember we fell asleep. I had his bed downstairs. I bought him one of those hot beds that move up and down. It wasn't a hospital bed. It was one of those sleep number beds. And I still use that bed because I love it. Mm-hmm. And anyway, we were holding hands, and I could feel at a certain point he let go slowly. And I knew at that point that his spirit was letting go, because I woke up and I looked at him and I felt him. He was still warm, but he was not breathing.
Yeah.
I think his spirit woke me up as he was moving out of the body, and that he wanted to say goodbye to me. Because how could I feel that? Well, I was trying to be not asleep, right? But still, I dozed off.
Each story is so unique, and you were right there with him. Other stories, widows are not home and they have to rush home. And each one is so precious, and you will have that memory with you forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this brings us to your book. I'm talking with Kimberly Hubenette, doctor of dentistry, author, speaker, and of course, after the loss of your husband, we're going to talk about your nonprofit, Live, Love, Survive, and Thrive, because that's what this book is all about. It's called Grid. Once in a lifetime, you get to start over. Beautiful book, by the way. I absolutely love it. And I read it over 2 days. I could not put it down because this is so unique to our listeners right now. Most of the time we have books and they're wonderful and widows share their story. This is about a different couple named Sophie and Jonathan. But the parallels between you and Mark's life are so apparent because Sophie loses her husband in a California wildfire in their beautiful home. But somehow he has taught her over the years survivalist techniques, how to live off the land, how to, I was just touched through this book. And it's so practical too, because it's a guide to survival. So now you tell me how much I'm correct and tell me how you came up with this idea.
So yes, you are correct. It is parallel to our life. However, my husband didn't die in the wildfire, right? But he did. He is a survivalist, and it's true to his heart that he taught me about survival, and all the things in the book correlate to kind of our lives of we went off to adventures in the wilderness. We didn't go exactly to that particular place in the book. However, he taught me what kind of plants to look for to, survive on. He taught me how to, make a trap just in case we needed to, fish and all that kind of stuff. It helps because it's about a person that learns to survive without her husband as well as survive in the wilderness. So there's 2 types of survival.
Yes.
And in the back of the book, I have lists of what to make for your bug out bag and also for your pets. Because you know what? We love our pets. We had 2 dogs while Mark was alive, and they were Loki and Roscoe.
We have 2 Westies, and we've had another pair of Westies before that. A total dog fan right here.
Yeah. And so my one of his dogs, the last one that was around when he was alive, Roscoe, he was a special dog. He could smell when Mark was sick.
Oh,
he stayed at his feet the whole time, all day long, if he could tell that Mark wasn't feeling good. There's stories about this.
Yeah.
Where dogs can sense these things.
My Westie Gomer, who lived to be 18, is Gomer and Gidget. We always called him Dr. Gomer because whenever we got a cold or the flu or something, he knew it beforehand. I mean, it's absolutely true. And I know you have a very special interest in holistic health too, as well. Yes. It kind of goes along with this. I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Wings for Widows, making this podcast, A Widow's Heart, possible. I love on their website, it says, Wings for Widows is the emergency room for the newly widowed where we treat financial trauma. Widowhood doesn't come with a roadmap, but Wings for Widows will help you take those first steps with confidence. Pro bono, free advice from a network of certified financial planning professionals nationwide. In fact, Katya from Hayward, California said her advisor from Wings for Widows, Paul, was a blessing. I was nervous and anxious. He instilled confidence and trust. Connecting with Wings for Widows has been a wonderful godsend in my life. I am forever grateful. So if you have financial questions and you'd like to take advantage of some of that free advice through this amazing organization, Wings for Widows, they are ready to help you at wingsforwidows.org. That's wingsforwidows.org. Kimberly Hubenette, Dr. Kimberly Hubenette, author of Grid. I think you should all order this on Amazon and read this because I was so touched. It's one woman's journey after the death of her husband, going into the woods to live off the land, but it's to live in harmony with the land too. And you talk about animals, and in the book, I was so entertained by Winston, who was her and her husband's dog, and she took Winston with her into the wood. Then she got a little chick that turned into Ethel the chicken, who gives her eggs to eat while she's living off the land. And then the knife that she named Jack. I finally got that.
Get it?
A jackknife. I didn't get it until I went,
oh my gosh. It was like, it was Mark's sense of humor that I wanted to put in the book. Like, it was his sense of humor, like jackknife.
Good. And then all of a sudden, I mean, it's this woman and her animals and Mitch, the squirrel who she befriends. And it's just one with nature, her daily survival. And it's a very comfortable survival because her husband taught her well, and kind of a scavenger hunt during it. But it's also teaching you, if you're listening right now and you've lost your husband, that it's something that you didn't plan, that you didn't want, but you are strong and you're just a cheerleader, Kimberly. I think that everyone can survive if they plan correctly.
Yeah. Even if you don't plan, there's little things in life that you realize later on that, wow, this helped you, survived.
And I think a lot of the story, and in your life too, there are signs, and I love to call them God winks, where something just reminds you of them. And as you say, Mark is always with you. You see it a lot.
Oh, yes. There's a few times that I know that if I can really, or I need help, I can reach out to him and he does help me. I don't know how that is, but one time I remember I had taken my dog for a walk and I couldn't find the collar and where I was. Usually I don't take off the collar anywhere, but I was walking back and forth to my house looking for this collar that I know that never had left off of her leash. And finally I said, Mark, you got to help me find this collar. Well, I go back home crying about it, and it's sitting there. It's laying there on the ottoman. Who knows how that could happen, but I never took it off.
Oh, isn't that something? It's those signs that they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Another part of the book, I was just looking at my notes here. I wrote spam in capital letters because at one point she's having just a delicious meal and she slices up spam. And now we're based here in Minnesota in the Twin Cities. And of course, Hormel is based in Austin, Minnesota. And spam was a big part of my growing up. And I'm like, I like this girl in the book, Sophie, because she likes spam. And I loved what she ate. She ate whole foods. She used honey instead of a lot of sugar. And I noticed a lot of that in there. And that must be part of your beliefs as well.
Oh, definitely. As a dentist and also a person that totally loves to look for healthy environments and healthy things, we are eating a lot of like sugars and so forth, and sugar feeds to the microbiome in our bodies and creates like havoc, especially in teeth. If our bodies have cavities, our teeth have cavities, it's because there's something missing in our microbiome. And maybe the sugar is feeding the microbiome, our symbiotic, microbiome, and then things increase too much in our bodies. So our saliva plays a lot of role in the health of our mouth. If we have an acidic mouth, then our body is going to create more environments for cavity area to grow.
Interesting. That's really interesting. And especially when you go through a trauma in life, like losing a spouse, sometimes the last thing we do, at least in the early stages, is to take care of ourselves. So tell me, we're talking with Dr. Kimberly Hubenette about her book called Grid and about her ability to live, love, survive, and thrive, which is also the theme in the book called Grid. But tell me about your website, your group that you have to encourage widows, because I think that's what we do after a while when we've been through this, that we can lift others up.
Yeah, so of course at first I was like a zombie myself, devastated, hard to get up, but I had a few things in my life that I had to keep going, right? And so what I've learned is that you can't do it on your own. You might think, okay, I'm going to just try to be strong, be tough, show people that I can survive. Yet, if you don't talk to people, then you can't really move yourself forward. I myself had some friends come over. They wouldn't leave me alone, and I wanted them to leave me alone after a while.
They're pesky like that, aren't they?
Right. But you know what? Looking back at it, it helped me a lot. I needed them even though I didn't think I needed them. Oh. So now I've created a hiking group in our local area. I've created we're going to start, actually, should say, a group at the mortuary that I had my husband cremated there. And I reached out to them. They are helping me. I'm giving them my books. And we're going to create and help each other form a community there so that once a month we go and talk. And hopefully people that have come fresh out of this widow or widowhood will come and be there with us. I do have 2 online groups that I support on my website. You can see it at livelovesurvivethrive.com. And then also I do retreats, like wellness retreats, not just, let's journal. Yes, we're going to journal.
Or
yes,
not just grief. It's not undermining the grief, but it's just bigger than that.
Yes. We go out and we smell the flowers. We do a little hike. We do, think about the 5 senses of our bodies. And I really want people to take action, little things. Find something new to do in your life. Maybe you've always wanted to go to Hawaii and you never did. Or maybe you wanted to catch this big sailfish like I did. And
wow.
I went out and I caught one, and then I started a hiking group where we ended up hiking to Half Dome in Yosemite.
I've been there. I haven't climbed it, but I have been there.
Yeah.
Well, I just go back to, a year after my husband died, a long time ago, and that's where I helped find a nonprofit called Widow Might, MIGHT. But at the year anniversary, I wanted to stay home and just feel sorry for myself and, just be closed in and everything. And my sister said, no, we're going kayaking in Bayfield, Wisconsin, which is near the Apostle Islands. Have you been there?
No,
you love that. I love that. And go kayaking. And I thought, I don't want to do that. Well, it was just like a God thing because I went, I did something I'd never done before. And it was a beautiful day. And the Superior can be all kinds of crazy, different kinds of temperaments. Lake Superior was like glass. And it was just like God was showing me, it's like, look at what I have to show you and look at what you can see and still do and learn. So I think that's so wonderful what you are doing. Do you have any retreats coming up?
Well, we just finished our retreat in July, which it was local to my area. We did trap shooting, clay pigeon shooting, and, fly fishing, as well as we did a hike. The hike thing is always going to be in the group sessions. But we're doing one in Cabo San Lucas in October. And it's October 10th and 11th. And we're going to be doing it at the Pueblo Bonito Resort, Sunset Resort. And I'm having a few things that we're going to do outdoors. Obviously, we're going to do a hike around the area. And we're either going to do parasailing or go deep sea fishing as one of the events. So we're going to have to see which everybody wants to do for our big event. We always do like one big thing. And if anybody's interested, that's what we're doing in our next retreat.
And give me your website again. It's
livelovesurvivethrive.com.
And then you have your own website as well, correct?
Yes. drkimberlyhubenette.com.
And Dr. Kimberly, it's HUBENETTE.com. And of course, when we put this podcast up in the next week, we'll also have you on our Widow's Heart Facebook page with your links as well. Well, before we close, what encouragement do you have for someone listening right now who is just going through this and not realizing how strong they are? What encouragement do you have and what have you learned?
You take it one day at a time. Make sure that you are writing like maybe 3 things down that you want to accomplish for the day. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, Kimberly, or you tell yourself, you're a survivor. Kimberly, you can get up and go do whatever it is you want to do that day. I believe in you. You look in the mirror and you say it to yourself and you look, and it makes all the difference in the world because you're encouraging yourself to go do these things.
I love that. What is something lately that makes you smile?
My dog. I have my little dog, a new dog named Dakota. She's 7 years old. I got her so that Roscoe could teach Dakota before he passed. And she just loves her willfulness to go and go every time we go to the lake. She just goes and goes and goes. She will not stop until I tell her. But she listens to me, but I can see how she keeps wanting to go, go, go. She just makes me so happy. She's a dependent, right? She depends on me. And so that's why I'm saying, you have to have like something to depend on to move yourself forward.
I had my first pair of Westies when John died that he and I had, raised for years together. And they were just like part of the reason why I survived was my dogs. I'm showing Kimberly a picture. This is Barney. He's our newest one. He is 2 years old, a little Westie. It's Barney, and we call him Barnado because he's just crazy. But yeah, dogs bring me joy too. Thank you so much. Just a big fan of your book. And I've already got 3 people who have said, you got to read this. And I've got a list of people borrowing your book from me. And if you would love to learn about surviving physically and emotionally through whatever you're going through, I would recommend Grid by Dr. Kimberly Hubenette.